Now we're official. All right, now Ann, would you like to do the roll call?
Okay, all righty. Let's see. Actually, before I do roll call, Chief, do
You want me to go
you?
over the new rules?
Yeah, if you would just
Okay.
do a brief recap of that, and then I'll do the roll call.
Okay, sounds good. So traditionally, we've recorded these, and we've also done minutes, written minutes, and then we would send those out. So we are not required to do both, and so we are going to just do recording as our official document to document this public meeting. So there are a few rules to go over just to make sure we're properly documenting everything and there's a proper record of who said what. When we, so this is on me, the first one. So I'll need to state the date, the time, the location of the meeting, and we'll then conduct roll call. And then with the new process, anytime the board member must, when you go to speak, please introduce yourself, even though we can see you. Please, for the verbal record, make sure you introduce yourself. Whenever you're making a motion, whenever you're seconding a motion, if you're recusing yourself, if you have any questions, so that the record accurately reflects who said what. For recusals, you'll need to state your name and the reason for the recusal. For example, if a budget item for DPS or a grant is coming through, DPS would need to state their name and the reason for the recusal. They are part of DPS. I think that is all the rules. Did I miss anything, Ann?
No, sounds good.
All right. So bear with us if we forget, but between legal and Ann, they'll keep us in line. With that, it is May 2nd, 2025, currently at 10:06 a.m. And we are online for our quarterly, or I don't know, for quarterly or every 3 months. I forget what track we're on for our board meeting. So with that, I will turn it over, call the meeting to order, and turn it over to Ann for roll call.
Great. Thank you, Chief. All right, Chief Solberg.
I am here.
Chief Ticer.
Here.
Sheriff Jerry Sheridan. Bree Belkey.
Here.
Rachel Mitchell. Sheriff Dedman. Brad Conley.
Here.
Director Eric Jorgensen.
Sue is here on his behalf.
Thank you, Susan. Brian Wright. Colonel Jeffrey Glover.
Eric Axland for Colonel Glover.
Great. And Bill Johnson.
I'm here.
Great. Thank you, Bill. All right. Chief, I have a message into Sheriff Dedman. I can also try. Leslie said she could be available. So let me work on that. Okay.
Thank you. We will proceed since we have the minimum, but we will need at least one more later, as you mentioned. All right. First up is approval of the draft board meetings. So this will be the last time we'll have to approve the written minutes, but the minutes from January 17th, 2025. You should have all received a copy of that. Does anyone have any questions on that or corrections? Otherwise, if I could get a motion by your name and a motion to approve.
Brad Conley, motion.
This is Bree, second.
Thank you, Bree. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Next up, introduction of Daryl Willis. I'll let him tell you all about himself. We're happy to have Daryl here. As you know, Director McGuffin retired, and we went through a competitive process, and Daryl was selected as our new director. Daryl, if you want to introduce yourself, and you can lead right into your action items. Oh, mute, Daryl.
Where's Daryl?
Sorry about that. Mr. Chairman, members, good morning. Thank you for having me. I'll begin with a quick introduction. Very grateful to be here. Look forward to getting to know each of you. I recently retired from DPS as a captain after serving the state of Arizona for 31 years. I began my career with DPS as a trooper trainee in Prescott in 1993. After graduating the academy in 1994, I was assigned to my hometown of Douglas. I later served as a trooper in Gila Bend, Buckeye, and the Phoenix metro areas. In 2006, I was promoted to sergeant and supervised patrol squads in the Highway Patrol Division and a narcotics squad in the Criminal Investigations Division. I held administrative staff positions in the Highway Patrol Metro Bureau and the Criminal Investigations Division Office. I also served as an investigative sergeant in the Professional Standards Unit. I was promoted to captain in 2015 and served as the Major Offender District and Strategic Resources captain, as well as 4 years as a deputy director of the Arizona Counterterrorism Information Center. My last assignment with DPS was as commander of the Highway Patrol Metro West District, which is the largest district in the Phoenix area in terms of highway miles and the largest district in the state in terms of manpower. This was my absolute favorite position with DPS. Now let me give you some updates from the ATA. The April newsletter was sent out last week. The lead article provided information on the theft of Chevy Silverados. Chevy Silverados routinely hold the #1 spot in Arizona's top 10 stolen list. Additionally, the newsletter covered NICB's state rankings for the rate of theft per 100,000 residents. Arizona ranked 15th. Arizona is bordered by the states that rank 1 through 4, and the Western region has 7 of the top 10 states in this metric. The newsletter garnered some media interest, and I conducted an interview with Univision about this information in the newsletter. Additionally, the newsletter covered the Kia Hyundai class action settlement deadline, the upcoming year-end grant funding opportunities, and Armstrong's participation in the Paradise Valley Police Department Safety Fair, and the ATA's April Motorcycle Theft Prevention Campaign. The ATA also continues to work on the ACT enhancements. This week, I met with representatives from DPS and Planet Technologies to discuss ACT enhancements. Planet is working out some bugs with the sign-up process, and DPS will move forward with programming updates as soon as they are able to receive the funds for this project. As an update for our year-to-date statistics from the ACT databases, the auto theft continues the trend reduction observed throughout last year. As a reminder, Arizona concluded 2024 with a 14% decrease in auto thefts compared to 2023. 2025 has begun with even greater reduction, and as of this morning, auto theft is down 21% in Arizona year to date. A recently completed project with the ATA dealt with policy and procedures, and there is an action item that will be coming up on today's agenda regarding the policy project undertaken by staff in May of last year. Today should mark the end of that project, and I'd like to acknowledge the work of Ann Armstrong in coordinating the complete review and revision of all ATA policies. This project has resulted in significant streamlining of necessary policies from 68 to 5. And my final topic, I'll talk about the request for approval of an interagency service agreement. When we get the votes, I'll talk about the ISA. We're coming toward the end of the fiscal year, and this is the second of 2 ISAs we expect to enter with DPS. As a reminder, the ATA does not have an appropriation to fund task force vehicles and buildup. For the last few years, we have utilized a strategy to fund this important component of the task force. Funding comes from ATA operations budget in the form of an ISA. Simply put, we transfer funds to DPS and specify that it can only be used for this purpose. The ISA will once again continue to allow the Vehicle Theft Task Force to purchase vehicles and build them up when possible. The ISA allows for the purchase of vehicles, emergency equipment such as lighting, radios, and the buildup of those vehicles. Following the same plan as in previous years, the ATA staff recommends and requests approval to move forward with an ISA with DPS in the amount of $135,000. and we can wait for a vote on that for when we get the additional members online. And that is what I have. And before I go, I wanted to recognize Jamie McGuffin for his work and leadership with the Auto Theft Authority. I worked with Jamie at DPS, and he took some extra time to catch me up to speed in this position. I appreciate all he has done for me and for the Auto Theft Authority. Thank you all, and I'm available for questions.
Gerald, thank you. Did Leslie join us? Someone joined us while you were speaking. Last two digits, 19.
Did somebody just hop on?
Yeah, Chief McFarland from MPSO just joined. Sorry, it's a little late.
Great. No worries. Sorry you were having problems with that link, Chief. All right, we officially have 8 members. It's 10:15, and we have Chief McFarland from Maricopa County Sheriff's Office to join.
All right. With Chief McFarland, I believe we have enough of a quorum to take a vote on the ISA. They say it right, ISA approval. We will need Eric Axland to recuse himself.
Mr. Chair, this is Bob Dicer. I'd make a motion to support that and pass the ISA.
Thank you, Chief Dicer. Do I have a second?
Brad Conley, second.
Thank you, Brad. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you.
Chief,
Cheryl,
did we
anything
get,
else?
sorry,
Yes.
did we get a formal recusal from Major Axland? I know he completed the conflict of interest form, but I think he popped off the phone for a second.
Yeah, Eric Axland recuse as it relates to DPS.
Thank you. I believe we are good. Okay. Daryl, anything else?
That is all I have. I am available for questions, and I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you. Next up is Frank with the financial report.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Maybe. It's thinking about it. Are you guys able to see my screen yet?
Yes.
Okay. It's just really small in my head. Okay. Perfect. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. All right, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, as of May 1st, which was yesterday, the fund balance for AATA is $4,317,318. So for year to date, we've had a really good collection period. So the first assessment period, we brought in we did bring in 3.7 million, but because during that time we had to take care of an insurance company that overpaid, we finally got that situation taken care of. So it did reduce our assessment dollars, but we did make over 3.7 million for first quarter. Second quarter, we saw a really large increase. We were actually $3,764,000 in the second assessment period. Off to the side there, you see 42,440. That was because an insurance company notified ATA. They did a complete review of their past assessments from 2016 to 2023, and they realized that they underpaid the Auto Theft Authority, and it was regarding their motorcycle policies. After they realized that, they wanted to make it right, so they sent us a check wire transfer over $42,000. Investment income right now, we're at $130,000. This is significantly less than what we had in FY24, and that is due to the fact of the size of the fund balance for ATA. We went from 11 million down to a little over 2.9 million when we started this budget here. Other revenue is penalties for insurance companies that are not paying on time when they're supposed to. They are being assessed a penalty, and we've received over $13,000 in penalties so far. So right now we have about $7,632,000 that we received in revenue this year. Act support, we've spent over 91,000. That is the support agreement with Planet, which tell you is a fantastic company to work with. The 57,000 that we have remaining, I'll talk about how we're going to use a lot of that funds in the expenditure plan. Moving over to our appropriation, we have spent over $471,000, leaving us about 237,000 remaining. And you'll see that 135 of that is going to be going to the task force for build-up vehicle purchases. Local grants, we have spent about 1.2 million, a little over that. Shows that we have about 131,000. We have some grants that we're still paying and some adjustments that need to be made. So after all those adjustments and the remaining grants for vertical prosecutions are paid out, we should have about 32,706 available for either law enforcement grants, public awareness grants at the end of the budget year. And we have completed paying the task force their appropriation for FY25. So I'm going to move over to the expenditure plan. Second. And I'll zoom in because this is kind of small. Okay. So we're kind of starting to average out a little bit over 14,500 in investment income. The very beginning of this budget year, we were barely at 8,000. So we're showing some signs of increase, which is really nice. In May, typically there actually is 3 payments from payroll in the month of May, but because payroll fell on a Thursday yesterday, they actually had to put it in April. So our April numbers were a little bit higher for payroll than they were supposed to be for May. So everything balances out. Plus also in April, we did have to pay out McGuffin when he retired for his vacation. So there was some increase in payroll expenses because of that. As you can see here, we are planning to handle the remaining of our grants, and I have it put in a placeholder for law enforcement grants. It's just a placeholder for the 32,706. The act, we have potentially have that ISA with DPS to finish the enhancements to the act system, and it's roughly about $45,000, which will help us use a lot of the appropriation for the act section. And at the very bottom here, you will see that the task force ISA is right down here, and this $8,000 actually is promotional items and some other items that we're looking to purchase on behalf of ATA. Probably it's a little high. It's just kind of a placeholder, but we're looking at about 7,500 ish for promotional items for the rest of the year. So keep us stocked and able to help with those events that we're getting requests for. So at the end of the budget year, we are looking to return about 115,000 to our fund balance. Our fund balance should end of almost $4 million. It's just a little shy, but it's still a good progress, showing that it is growing. Based on my numbers, we look like we're about $1 million that we're going to grow this at the end of this budget year at this time. That is my expenditure plan at this time. I do ask for a motion to approve the expenditure as I have it presented.
Frank, before we do a motion, a quick question.
Yes, sir.
With the state working on the budget still, are we in jeopardy of losing any of our funds from a sweep?
I have not heard anything about, first question, Mr. Chairman. Yes, the state is still working on the budget. To your second question, I have not heard from the governor's office that the auto theft authority is at a risk of losing any additional funds at this time.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions? If not, entertain a motion.
Brad Conley, motion.
Bill
Thank
Johnson.
you. Second. Thank you, Bill. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Frank, anything else?
No, Mr. Chairman, thank you. If there's no other questions, that is my report.
Thank you. All right, Ann, public awareness and grant programs.
All right, Mr. Chair, members. As far as the policy updates that we have been working on, Jamie obviously was a big help with that before he left. We got those reviewed. I want to thank Chief Ticer and his administrative subcommittee for meeting last month and vetting those out. And so If anyone has any questions on those, we will be doing a presentation a little bit later in the meeting to go over those. So again, thank them for all their help. Grants, as Frank mentioned, we're end of quarter, heading into our fourth quarter, getting all those payments made. By next week, we should have the application go live. We've had a wrinkle in the application with the new ZenGen grant management system. So that should be live next week. And as long as we get applications by the end of May, early June, we can still host our law enforcement subcommittee prior to the June 20th board meeting. So we should be on task. We have that 32,000, as you all know, that we prefer not to go back to the fund balance. We'd like to get that out to programs. And so that's our goal. We had a round of grant contract compliance reviews. We performed audits on Maricopa County and Mojave County. Both of those agencies were fully compliant. Staff used a new scorecard system, a new procedure that we've developed to make that CC&R process a little more robust. Some of that came out of the recommendations of the Auditor General when they did the DIFI audit. And so we've been able to kind of increase some of that scorecard function. We've also brought Daryl into the loop for this round of CC&Rs. So we have a two-level process now with the CC&Rs. Frank and I do the initial review, and then we push it to Daryl. So we were able to get him involved in this process, which was great. I want to thank the staff from both of those agencies for always providing all their documentation. We'll be performing our next round of CC&Rs, and we'll have those for the September board meeting. So as Director Willis mentioned, we did our April newsletter, which was distributed. I hope folks that signed up for the newsletter received it. As he mentioned, we've gotten some good coverage on that, specifically the theft rates and the Silverado pickup truck. So I want to thank Director Willis for doing the Univision interview last Monday. We also had some other web-based news outlets that picked up some of the information. So that seems to be a good way for us to get our messaging out, and we're working on the July newsletter right now. Events, we've had a few events. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So we've had a few events since our last board meeting. We did the Paradise Valley Police Department event. I should skip back a little bit. We did the Paradise Valley Public Safety event. We also provided social media promotion and supplies to two events in April, one hosted by Bullhead City and the other by Sierra Vista. Nice to see those agencies back doing those events. We have the PISA conference in June 11th through 13th that we'll be hosting, and we're going to sponsor and have a vendor table that day. Some of our campaigns we did since the last board meeting was pushing out information on the Kia Hyundai settlement claim information. The deadline for that submission was April 28th, which has just recently come and gone. So we wanted to try to push as much information out to those folks. We did that through campaigns and through our newsletter. Those were some of the events. Also, we did motorcycle theft prevention for Arizona Bike Week, April 2nd through the 6th. Just some of the images that we did push out to folks. We also incorporated some of this information into that April newsletter. March Madness. This was actually shout out to Jamie, one of his last campaign contributions, which was focused on March Madness and all the baseball theme during that time, reminding folks to lock their vehicles, park smart. As I mentioned, the April newsletter went out. Got some great coverage on that. If anybody is not registered to receive that, just shoot me off an email and I'll make sure to get you on that list. And as I started to mention, we'll be down at the PISA conference June 11th through 13th. We'll also have Mary Gu, our analyst and ACT database guru. She'll be providing a presentation during the PISA conference. I believe it'll be on Friday, June 13th. So we're also providing sponsorship support to the Western States Auto Theft Investigators Conference and the International Association of Auto Theft Investigators. Both of those will be in the new fiscal year after July 1st. So we'll keep trying to promote and sponsor as many of those great organizations as we can. All right, unless there are no questions, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ann. Appreciate it. All right, next up is Chief Ticer.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. On April 11th, our subcommittee met to discuss policies, and you heard the director a little while ago talk about how him and Ann and staff have pared that down from over 60 policies down to 5, which is pretty darn awesome. I can tell you the work that went into them was gift wrapped and ready to go. As a subcommittee group, we looked at it. There was 5 which we approved, and they were the new Arizona Auto Theft Authority board policy, the new Arizona Auto Theft Authority grant policy. And by the way, for those of you that did get a chance to take a look at that, there was a yellow highlight on the last couple paragraphs in the email that was sent out, and that was just left over from our draft. That was just for us to focus on in the meeting. So it had nothing to do with your review for the overall committee. So please disregard that yellow highlight. And then additionally, the Watch Your Car program policy, which was new, was approved, as well as the new responsibilities of the executive director policy, final draft, and then the new CCR policy. So, Mr. Chairman, the subcommittee approved that, and today I would ask if we could get a motion to approve that from the body as a whole.
Thank you, Chief Ticer. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Bill Johnson,
Ed
second.
Conway. And Bill Johnson, second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, thank you. Back to you, Chief Ticer.
And that concludes my report from the subcommittee, sir.
All right, thank you, and thank you to the subcommittee who took the time to review that, and Ann and Daryl and staff who prepped it. We appreciate it. It's nice when you can go from 65 different documents down to 5. Much easier, so we appreciate it. All right, next up is the Law Enforcement Subcommittee report from myself. We have not met, so there is no report, but it looks like we'll be meeting sometime in the next month. Public Awareness Subcommittee report, Chief Ticer, anything to update?
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Armstrong reported out on the activities of that, and this subcommittee has not met, so there is no report from the subcommittee.
All right, thank you. Vertical Prosecution Subcommittee and Auto Theft Prosecution Report. And you have a roll call of who's?
Let's see. Leslie was not able to join us today. I don't know if we have any other prosecutors on the phone. If so, make yourself known. I do not think we do. I know we've got some of the finance folks on the line, but as far as the prosecutors, so no report this meeting.
All right. With that, we will move on to the Arizona Vehicle Theft Task Force report. Captain Trevor Graff.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, first off, it's good to be here. Just took over a few weeks ago, following Axelin's footsteps here. That's big shoes to fill. So I'm still trying to learn my job and wrap my head around it, but he helped me with this, so we should be able to get through this pretty well. So that being said, the following reporters for the stolen vehicles, the drug seizures and arrests for January 1, 2025. The task force recovered 442 stolen vehicles, 24 of those 69 arrests had drug charges. The task force seized approximately 5 grams of cocaine, 94 grams of methamphetamine, and 88.3 grams of fentanyl. The task force served 5 residential or business structure search warrants and 6 electronic search warrants. We had 2,262 other agency assists, and the task force seized 6 weapons, one of which was stolen. As far as staffing on the task force, Mesa PD has assigned IGA with the task force now, and one of their detectives will be starting with us next week. Some significant events that happened this last quarter while we were accomplishing our mission. Task force detectives assisted Northern Highway Patrol Bureau with identifying multiple burnt vehicles that were involved in a rather large fatal collision, including some Korean nationals. Detectives were able to positively identify 3 of the 4 vehicles while on the scene, and a 4th vehicle was believed to be known through other investigative techniques. We reached out to the manufacturers for positive identifications, which did provide a positive ID for those vehicles. A few weeks back, the task force detectives observed a stolen F-150 parked on the street in front of a residence. They set up and did surveillance on the F-150, and they saw a person exit a residence, go to the F-150 and retrieve something out of it and return back into the home. Detectives authored a search warrant for the residence, and we found that approximately 15 people were squatting inside the residence. 2 people barricaded inside the residence, and DPS SWAT had to assist with securing them and the other occupants. We ended up arresting 2 suspects on felony charges, and 1 stolen vehicle was recovered. Afterwards, with the media out there, all of the neighbors reached out and sang our praises because that house has been a huge problem in their community for a long time. And we're the first law enforcement entity to actually start taking action on that house. So they were very, very happy with us. The last one that I'm going to mention is one of the ones that makes me the most proud. Our border liaison officers assisted the San Luis Rio Colorado Municipal Police with a shooting that occurred in San Luis, Mexico. One San Luis officer was shot multiple times. He was transported to a local Mexican hospital for medical treatment. The San Luis PD requested assistance with transporting the officer to the San Luis Port of Entry so he can get further medical treatment in the United States. Our border liaison officers reached out to their contacts with Customs and Border Patrol and facilitated communication between the Mexican law enforcement and U.S. Customs. Ultimately, they got permission granted to transport the officer to the point of entry and then to the Yuma Region Medical Center, where the officer was stabilized and later flown to St. Joseph's Hospital for further treatment. While it's not all the theft related, it's an excellent example of the value of the border liaisons and the relationships that they have with their Mexican counterparts and U.S.-based law enforcement entities. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you for that report. Welcome to the task force.
Thank
Good
you.
to see that you're adding additional bodies to there. That's good. And hopefully the officer in San Luis is getting a speedy recovery. Thank you for the assistance on that.
Thanks, sir.
All right. Next, a call to the public. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak or have any questions? All right, hearing none. Report of current events and any other updates, or Director, any other additional updates?
No.
Okay. Our next meeting is scheduled for June 20th at 10 a.m. If you know you have a conflict, please try to find someone to take your place. Let Ann know if you are not going to be able to make it. And with that, I will make a motion or ask for a motion to end the meeting at 10:38 in the morning.
Brad Conley motion.
Thank you, Brad. Second. Thank you, Bill. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Have a good weekend. We will see you all in June. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Chief.
everyone.
Thanks, Ann.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.